And she was walking through there with her old thuggy-looking husband, and she says, well, I'd have done blank, blank, blank for this MF. And we was talking not long ago, now we weren't, but Amber and him was talking up at the cabin, and they was talking about Ryan Blair's funeral. The outburst that they had made at the funeral.
Well, there was a fight.
Huh?
There was a dude got up and was trying to fight somebody in the
Yeah, because they have no religion. It is said that a man that cannot control his tongue has no religion.
That's wild.
Huh?
That's wild. Fighting at a funeral, you
Yeah.
have no idea.
But see, the thing is that the mouth represents your spirituality. It is what separates us from the animals. Now, you think about this thing, animals can communicate. They use sounds. Look at a crow, the vocabulary of a crow, the vocabulary of a raven. They have the ability to communicate. The difference is man has this spark of morality. Within this spark of morality, crow goes, arr, arr, arr. What does that mean? Man, here comes that stupid Artie. He's going to shoot us, boy. We got to get out of here. To a degree, that's kind of what that sound says. But a crow don't go, arr, arr, arr. Can you believe what David wore to church today? Yeah, and I was at church the other day doing this. Blank, 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 blank. Your tongue. It represents your spiritual condition, or also known as, now remember, the value of peh is 80. You know what 80 means? Maturity. It represents maturity. Did you know that Moses was 80 years old when God told him to lead them out? Because Moses was at the point in his maturity, because if you ever tried to lead people, Lance, and as you're trying to lead people, you're just trying to bounce them around everywhere, giving them stupid ideas and stupid instructions, and then they get mad or they don't do this or don't do that. But a leader focuses on what they have to do and the tools that they have and how to best get it done. He knows when to shut up. He knows when to speak. But not only when he speaks, he is speaking as he should. But the thing is that we have to have the next piece. How do we control these things? The last one is heh. It means, behold, here is seed. I'm giving you what you need. Take it. I'm giving you what you need. I will take care of this. This cool thing about the symbol, if you look at it. So this one represents a man who has bowed down. This one, if I do this right here, this represents a mouth. You can see how it represents a mouth. It's open. This one right here, if you notice, it represents two different things. There is a delet, which is actually, if you look at it, it's like that, which is different from the resh. Then there is a yod. This one represents the spiritual world. This one represents, this is the physical world, this is the spiritual world. It represents a seed in the ground. It is representing this seed, Dory, that is trying to come up. It is trying to grow up. God is trying to answer your problems. He's trying to give you what you need to deal or to answer this thing. But the problem is that what does this seed got to encounter? One of my first lessons that I learned about growing caladiums is, Dory, guess what you have to have? Remember the lesson I taught y'all about sunflower seeds, that you got to have pointed the right direction? Because the root was pointed the wrong direction, like a sunflower seed, what it does, it grows like this, and then it forces it up, and the seed comes up, which is exactly opposite of a caladium. Because the caladium looks like it's upside down, but what comes up first, Dory? The shoot, don't it? And so I planted mine, and mine wouldn't come up. David, I couldn't figure out why mine wouldn't come up. So you know what I did? I turned all of them over, trying to figure out what it was. And every one of them was planted upside down. So before this plant could grow up, Emily, it had to overcome, I had it upside down. See, that is a condition or a representation of our physical world. We have got our worlds upside down. We have placed us over God. The problem is that God is real. And the sooner we understand that God is real, that this spiritual world is far more important than his physical world. But Delet basically means you've come to this point. Do you choose to arrive? This is how you come to this point that you start realizing, wait a second, there's something going on here. There's something happening here. If you want to get to this point to where your physical world is overshadowing, but you have to hold this image in your mind that God has got a blessing on the way. It's equivalent, Amber, to saying it's always darkest before the light. If you're at the point where you can say it's always the darkest before the light, you know that a blessing is getting ready to happen. You're not focused upon how dark it is. You're focused upon what's getting ready to sprout through. But it bears the fruit of these decisions. If you choose to be in charge, to be the man, to be the woman, to be the boss, to be the head of the family, if you choose all these things, understand your mouth is going to reflect on it. And your mouth is going to bring you to the point, and the more you speak, the harder this substrate is. And now we've got this thing, it's got to sit here and fight to go around this thing. And it's your authority that you have, that you surrender, is where God blesses you. The less you have to be in charge, the more God can bless you. But it represents 5. 5 is the 5 garments of humanity. They say that there are 2 types, there are 5 garments of humanity, the 5 fingers. There's 2 kinds of thoughts. Now remember, these are destinations. A person does something to you. You don't know why they did it. All that you can do is what? Imagine why they did it. Anybody ever done that before? So there's 2 kinds of thoughts. There's the imaginative thought, and then there's the meditative thought. Thought is the first thing that you should do. The next thing that's going to happen, there are 2 types of speech. There is the words that are from the heart, then there are the words that come from the lips. And the last is action. There's only one type of action. Either you do or you don't. There's only one kind of action. So let's break this down now. If you choose to avoid the wretch, what you find is that your thoughts, you're now bound by what you can only imagine is the reason they said that, or is the reason this happened. And as you imagine this thing of why, the reason of what you do, this also represents humility. It represents repentance, because what it says, when you have wrath, you have that ability to say, it is not your fault, it is my fault. The person who is led by the imaginative is always going to imagine the other person at fault. You see that? It's your fault that I'm this way. It's your fault that this got done. It's Satan's fault that my attacks are coming at me. It's the punishment of being good. It's the punishment of being bad. The thing is, it's just what it is. It's just what it is. And the thing is that your imaginative is the first thing that comes out of your thoughts. It's what drives your word. It's what you imagine. The next thing is we find out that imaginative is drives the lips. David, you think this is why this is. And so the first thing you're going to say it. Because it's right there on your lips. I got to say this. But if we find out that if we would meditate on this for a second, but just a second, think about what you say. All of a sudden now we think about what we say, but we got to have some kind of filter. What separates us? Our humility. Do we put the blame on somebody else? Or do we say, God, you're in charge? Then you start seeing it from God's eyes. And then you'll find there's another reason or something else. Or God say, God, look, I know that I'm right in this circumstance. And you think God's going to bless that? No. But if you say, okay, God, I need to think about this. I need to think about what's going on. Reveal to me. If you're trying to walk with God, you're trying to serve God, meditative thoughts are always going to drive speech that comes from the heart. You see that? Stop and think about it just a second. Make that choice. Is it so important that I say this? Is it so important that I do this? What does the Bible say about arguing with a fool? Seriously, you're worse than the fool. Because if you think, so then if you've got a kid and you're trying to do whatever to this thing, you're arguing with that kid, guess what you've just proved yourself to be, Dory? Stupider than the kid. You know, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. But the thing is that you come to this point of humanity to where you make a decision. But did you notice in this thing, this last word here, this ha, it basically is dealing with the human nature. It's how we deal with this thing. But the problem is that when it arrives at the human nature, it says to relax or be still. But if we look at this word here, raphah, so you got to ask yourself this question, and I'm going to close on this. Do you want to relax and be still, or do you want to heal? You realize there's two different things. What causes you to lose your temper? What causes you to get stressed? What causes you to have this anxiety? What is the cause? Because you don't have the cause of the end result in your mind. 5 is also a symbol of humanity. It ends up with a human thought. What is this symbol? It's the first letter in the alphabet. It's the Aleph. Aleph represents God. God. It's the essence of God. It's all things. But it's also the silent letter in the Hebrew alphabet. God is silent. It represents silence. If we choose to bow down, we choose to say, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to fight this. I am choosing, because the insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. Right. So the thing is that we choose to face a situation, whatever it might be, whoever is stupid. Say, God, I'm going to allow you to deal with it. What you just said, you vocalized right here. You vocalized your decision. That's why it's important to vocalize these things and surrender them. But if you want to heal, it has to be the point, God, this is yours. Give that yoke. I am not going to think on it no more. I have no words to say on it. I'm going to take no action. I am going to do nothing. They say the worst thing you can do being a narcissist, or being, I'm going to rephrase this, because being around a narcissist is to engage them. A narcissist is a person who has mastered the art of making you engage. Because the moment you engage, you're stupid. Or it's like walking in. They say that the person who holds a knife out like this